Hey, y'all. Welcome to the Family Empire Houston review panel.
What up?
As
What up? What up?
it's your girl, Really B, and your girl, Treese. And we're here today
Hey.
to, y'all, this was a heavy episode. I was just talking to Really B behind the scenes, and I said, I cried probably the first 15 minutes of this. So, my emotional Pisces as I try to give y'all the best that I got on this, okay? I was hurt. All right. But yeah, y'all know what to do. If you haven't already, please go ahead, hit the like button, let the algorithm do what it do, let them know we're here. And we're gonna get into the intro, and then we're gonna break down this episode, y'all. So let's get into it
Word.
and let's get shady. So let me tell you, Elon, what you're not gonna do. I'm sorry, this is a sidebar. What you're not gonna do is have me pay for this premium Twitter and it did not work on the StreamYard. That's what you're not gonna do. Okay.
What happened?
I will cancel by tomorrow. No,
No.
I went and paid for the premium so I could stream live on Twitter too. And it's not letting me do it on the StreamYard. So I was just, sending out a little,
Well, I know it does work on the because Kiss My Cheeks does it.
Yeah, no. I know it works, but maybe because I just did it like a few hours ago. So maybe it didn't do what it needs to do yet. Maybe I ain't got my verified check yet and all that other stuff. But yeah, no, I'm mad because that's the only reason why I did it. Was to do this. Was to do this. But yeah, y'all, thank you for being here. Welcome. Like I said, if you haven't already, please go ahead and hit that like button. And make sure y'all subscribe to both channels, the Really Be TV reviews and Shade in the City. So y'all, all right. Like I said, this was heavy. I cried the first, 15 minutes of the episode. And basically it's the rehashing of everything at the crab bowl. Hey, love is dope, lovely 31 blueprint, 10 boys. I don't know why I was going to say 10 Beyonce. I'm sorry. And Paul Brantley. Hey, all of y'all, welcome. So yeah, Lakeisha is still questioning Aunt Joyce on, why there was an issue on her coming over. Everybody is aware Bubba, Frank, wasn't going to get Kesha. So somebody had to do it, which I think that we spoke a lot about that last recap. Now, Monet said she felt like they should have stayed out of her mother's and father's business. And I would be really interested. I was literally waiting to get here to get to the chat and get Really B's opinion on this. Because I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know why. And this is no shade to Monet because I do like her. But in this particular episode, I don't know. I don't know her stance, where she was coming from. And I was like, well, I wonder how other people feel. Because she was the youngest. I imagine she was born because Kesha wasn't introduced, till she was 7. So she was affected, but I just felt like, I don't know, maybe she should have the least to say. But I don't know. Y'all let me know what you think. Anyway, so then it comes out that Joyce basically didn't want her over the house. And so then all the G2s start arguing, basically trying to defend their mothers. Finally, Lakeisha tells everybody to shut up, okay? And Jermisha's mom gets upset. Aunt Jackie gets upset and she walks away. And Bubba basically then tells them that they ain't have no business being in his business. So he's taking the same positions that his daughter has and Joyce. And then it's irritated me. Then had the nerve to say, I paid my child support and Joyce didn't have to accept Lakeisha if she didn't want to, because that's not her child. And so I believe I don't think it was Aunt Jackie, but I believe it was maybe Aunt Charlotte that was like, basically like, do you realize what you're saying right now? Because basically you're insinuating, I don't know. I just was over it. And I like I said, I was in tears to see this family that we've like started to love watching. And again, every family has conflict, but it was just upsetting because, again, I've seen it even in my family, where it's crazy because the person that you're actually discussing or talking about is not even in the, but it's a melee because everyone else is trying to defend this one person who ain't even engaged in all of this. So it was just sad. It was just sad. And you could see the kids were hurt. Nicole steps up, kind of breaks the whole thing up, and basically is like, look, you know what? At the end of the day, this is our sister. This is your niece. She is going to be our family. And I'm back to where Nicole started, where maybe there really was no point in us sitting here rehashing this. Because how is this helpful if this is the result and we still don't get anywhere after all of this? Now, I will say the one thing Lakeisha did kind of like admit Nicole speaking up for her and kind of shutting everything down really did, warm her heart. And she was like, damn, look at my older sister finally, being my older sister. Which also made me think about, I don't know if maybe Nicole, like when we saw her earlier in this season, maybe that's the wall she had up. Maybe she was on the same thing that Monet was kind of on and was just like, well, no, my mama had a, you know what I mean? And so that kind of made her keep that wall up. And once she stopped thinking about her mama and daddy and fighting their battle and kind of relating to what her sister was going through, I don't know. I think it made it easier for that wall to drop. Really, be your thoughts?
So
I'm sorry, I got
it. No, girl, you had to get that out. Girl, you had to get that out. So I'm going to say this. I do think that the best thing that came out of that situation was the fact that it seems like Nicole and Kesha did get closer. The wall did come down. Nicole did stand in the gap for her sister at the time when she needed her the most. So for that, I think that probably was the only good thing that did come out of this. But I also think the other good thing that came out of this good might not be the word, but needed to come out, is Nicole's mother basically confirming what everybody always said was, you did not want her around, period.
Yeah.
And clearly the daddy agrees, which is why she has been allowed to get away with having that thought, because her husband supports that thought. Her husband's like, yeah, if she ain't want her around, she ain't have to accept her. But I disagree, because they weren't married. Right. You knew about Kesha before y'all got married, which means that when you agreed to marry that man, then you should have. Again, I
think that's what Aunt Charlotte was saying.
Oh, I agree. And I don't understand any woman that's okay with that. Like, I don't understand. And I mean, I'm sorry, Nicole or Monet, if y'all hear this or see this, I don't know your mother personally, so it's not a personal dig at your mother. This is about women. I don't understand a woman that is okay with a man denying his child. I don't give a damn, especially since you knew before you married him, you knew about her. You might not have liked it. You might not have liked Lakeisha's mama. Maybe there's a history there, child. Maybe they fought the street. I don't know. But you made a decision to go to marry a man that you knew had children, and the fact that you would support him not being there for his child, I don't understand that. And I mean, it happens all the time, but I don't get it. And again, no disrespect to Bubba, I don't know him either, but for him to feel like his child support was enough, that's all that mattered, and it was okay. Like, again, I just don't get it, especially, and I reiterate what I said last week. I didn't think about it from the aunt's point of view until that last week's episode. But once I heard the aunt's point of view, I'm like, you know what? I understand where they're coming from, and they do have a valid point, and that is their family, and they did have a right, knowing that Kesha existed. Again, the only thing I hate, and this is the part that got me, when Kesha was like, in that moment, I just thought about the fact that I couldn't run to my mama. And that did it for me. That did it for me, because I was like, Nicole had her mama, Quita and they had their mama, but Kesha, who the whole thing was about, is the only one. And I feel bad because her mother doesn't get to tell her story. Like, Kesha can tell the version that her mother told her, or the aunts can tell the version that they understand, or Bubba can tell his version. But she, as the woman, cannot tell her version of the story. So I really felt for Kesha, but honestly, again, if anything good came out of it, which good again might not be the best word, I do feel like it helped bring Nicole and Kesha together. And I agree with you. I don't know if that was the first of all. At this point, I don't even know. The only reason why they were having that conversation is because Nicole's mother threw that little statement out, right? However, I don't understand. I don't think that conversation is conducive for anybody. I just don't think anything good comes out of that conversation. At this point, I just don't think anything good comes out of it because it's 40 years old and everybody feels the way they feel, and it ain't gonna change nothing, and it ain't gonna undo anything. And
yeah. Okay. So Mina Ruth said it was Aunt Cheryl talking to Frank. Thank you. Hey, Xavier. Look, I tried to defend Miss Joy and Frank last week, but no, they just trifling. Okay, Xavier. There we go. See?
If a Frank would throw it at his sister, you don't understand because you don't have kids, baby.
Took me out. That was, to me, that is the worst thing. And I don't know, that is the worst thing you can say to someone, especially because we don't know if she wanted her own children. You know what I mean? Like, you never.
Right. We don't know what that's. We don't know what surrounded that. Could she not have children? Did she try to have children? Did she have miscarriages? Like, we don't know her story. And for him to just, I hate when people do that because people do that to me. I've had people say that to me. Well, you just don't understand because you don't have kids. And I'm like, some shit you don't have to carry the child to understand. I'm sorry.
And what's so crazy is from the person who seems like he was a parent to the kids that he even raised and the one that was outside his home, that's really effed up coming from you, because she might not have been a biological parent, but it sounds like she was probably a better aunt than you were a father.
Because remember, Nicole even alluded to that going back to the first or second episode, that he wasn't even the most present father, even though she grew up with him.
Mm-hmm. Right. Miss Gigi said, just stepping. Hello, everyone. But really, B, I must agree, can't get with a woman that's with a man that does nothing more for his child but child support. Sorry, woman. Yeah, right, and that's why I didn't understand Monet. Here's my thing. That's your mom, and I totally get that. You feel like she's being jumped on. That's your dad, whatever. However, if you're, I don't know, I guess because I'm at that point in my life, and like, as an adult, I realized my parents weren't perfect. So I can admit, oh, my parents didn't do everything right, but they did their best, right?
Right.
But I'm not going to co-sign that they did. It still was what it was. It was still stuff. So that's why I just couldn't understand Monet this episode. And I was like, yeah, you probably should have stayed out of it.
Yeah. I mean, defend your mama. I'm but you have to know that what your mama said was wrong. You have to acknowledge that was some effed up stuff that your mama said. And then I don't know, again, they were in different rooms, so I don't know how much of what Frank said they heard in the moment, but you heard what your mama said. And right. Like even to the point, because even when Monet was like, well, how do you know they weren't going to go get Kesha? Because Kesha was 7 and he hadn't done it yet. When was he going to do? Wait for her high school graduation? Like, we know he had no intention of going to get Kesha because he hadn't done it. It wasn't like, if she was 7 months old, I might even be like, okay, y'all. But she was 7 years old. Stop it.
And then, they just end the night, basically. Everybody's upset.
I like that they ended it on prayer. That's what got me. When they started praying, I was like, yes. I like the fact that they were like, we are not going to leave this house until we pray over this thing.
So then Jamisha wakes up the next day, and everybody basically, as really B said, background, y'all weren't here for that, but this whole episode was the aftermath of the crab boil for the most part. So she wakes up the next day to a mess and says her mama is devastated. She says she's never seen this behavior from her family, which is crazy because they say every time this subject comes up, this is what happens.
And she said she's never seen her mom act like
that. Okay.
Yeah, she said she's never seen that from her mother get that upset before.
Okay, thank you for clearing that up because I was just getting ready to say Chris told us last recap that every time they have a crab bowl, something go left.
Crawfish, child.
Oh, crawfish. I'm sorry. I look and my notes really say crab bowl. I'm sorry. It's the
Yeah,
Maryland.
because girl, because that's what we think. We think of crab
Right.
balls.
Everything is crab for us. Okay. So basically Nicole says that, her mother is upset and so is her aunt. And she's basically felt torn all her life. And Kesha says that she often thinks about, well, what if she was just never introduced to this family? What if she just would have stayed on her side, never knew who this family was? And basically is like, this is probably a bad time, but on my own.
You know what?
I'm sorry. I got it once again.
You know what? I'm not doing that with you.
But she feels left alone out here, and I felt bad for poor Kesha. I was
And
like,
it didn't help. They had her riding in that car at night
what?
by herself. Like, y'all ain't had to do that. Y'all ain't had to do that to Kesha.
But look, who knew Quita was a prayer warrior? Okay,
Baby Quita was praying over that thing.
look, and Jamisha was back, and that was her hype man. I said, y'all better, okay. They be at the pulpit. So then Nicole goes out with Larry and Leighton. She explains
Baby,
to Larry.
can we talk about how Larry got the hell out of Dodge? Larry said, "Yeah, I'm out
of
here."
Oh yes, I forgot that in my notes, but I wanted to mention that. Thank you, really, B. Yes, Larry saw what was going left, and he said, "I ain't doing it. I ain't got it to do," and dipped.
Which makes me believe what Chris said, that this isn't the first time.
Regular occurrence. Yeah.
Well, maybe not so much regular, but that, like you said, every time, like it's not the first time that's come up. And Larry is like, "Yeah, I'm not doing that today." And Larry got the hell up out of it. Larry was in the middle of eating his crawfish and got up like, "Yeah, I'm good. I'm out." And I understand where Nicole is coming from, but I also understand where again, especially if this isn't the first time this has been a situation. Like, I kind of understand Larry saying, "Yeah, I'm out. I'm gonna see you when you get home."
Okay.
Thank you, CJ. E61.
Thank you. So you think it's okay? I would love to know from the chat as well. Do y'all think Larry was wrong for leaving his wife there? And because I would hope that he took Leighton with her. And then one question that I had was, I thought Granny was supposed to be showing up. So the fact that
no, they knew Granny wasn't coming. That's why they were going to have
a conversation in the first place. Okay, that's what I thought. Okay,
yeah, they knew Granny wasn't coming.
Miss Gigi said Bubba is a typical only brother to all them sisters. Look deep. They have co-signed some of his foolishness. See how he acts now, taking up his slack no matter what the fallout.
I feel like, listen, I know Chris defended Bubba a couple of weeks ago when I said this. I think Frank has had some issues, and I'm gonna just leave it at
that. I can't. But yeah, so basically Larry wants to know what happened after he left, and Nicole tells him basically it was horrible. She felt bad. She laid in the bed for a day, and she really needed his support, and he wasn't there. And basically she said she hadn't cried like that in years, and he was just kind of like, that's what I got from it. Maybe I'm wrong. Did I miss something from that scene? But it didn't seem like he gave much more support than when he left.
No, it didn't. It didn't seem like he.
Okay.
Again, I would have been, if Larry were my husband, I'd have been pissed. Now, I ain't gonna lie, I'd have been pissed. Because even before he left, and again, this could be editing, we don't know. But even before he left, it doesn't look like he even went and checked on her before he left. He was just like, "All right, y'all, I'm out." Now, again, it could be editing. Maybe he did go in there and be like, "Nicole, you good? What's going on?" But baby, it don't look like he did none of that. It looked like he heard them yelling, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm good."
And to your point, it could be editing, but that's exactly how it looked. Tan said Larry wasn't wrong. Miss Gigi said Larry wasn't wrong either. He said he'd been there, done that, and he bounced. Okay. Love is dope said, yes, he should have been there. They were still eating at the time where things went left.
Oh, yeah, because they showed him eating that crawfish, and then he heard that yelling. He was like, "Yeah, I'm good. I'm out." He heard that arguing, baby.
Now, I will say this. Y'all know I love to play advocate, or the devil, as Nels calls it. But I will say that, to your point, he's been there, done that. And I could think because of how things were going, like even with the ladies and the G2s jumping in and defending their parents, I could see how, as a man in that situation, and I would love if Chris was here. I'm sure as a man in that situation, you want to remove yourself because, of course, as a man, you're going to be expected to defend your wife.
Well, you notice the other guys didn't get into it. We only saw Chris when Frank got to arguing with his sister, and then we kind of saw Chris being like, "Okay, that's enough."
Right.
So none of the other guys got involved.
Okay.
At least as far as we saw. Again, I have to always say that.
No, I don't think they've got it, but I think maybe that's why that was his long, like in his mind, you know what, this could turn bad. I already see Monet and jumping up for, or their mama, and she about to go at Jaquita, and this is too much. But he didn't even sit. You know what? I can't even say that. I'm sorry, Larry. I can't even give you that because you didn't even stay around that long.
Child, Larry was home.
Larry was at home in his bed.
Child, he said, look, and not only did he leave, he said, I was asleep when you got home, and I had taken some damn cough medicine. So, like, I was sleep. I was good in sleep.
Right. So then we see Kesha and Caramel. They go to have coffee, and Caramel is happy to see Kesha in better spirits. They, obviously recap the whole crawfish boil, and Kesha says that she hadn't talked to her dad. And she's just giving him a little space. She says she wants him to know what it feels like to be abandoned. And this is another part that really hurt my heart when she talks about how she played basketball and her dad was a basketball player, and she feels like sometimes he would have, and that's one thing that I'm gonna be honest, that really, really killed me. Even if you weren't gonna bring the girl home to her sisters, could you not have showed up for her even if it was undercover?
But that's what she said. Remember, Kesha said that. She said, right. I mean, he should have figured out a way to do it, even if he had to privately be my daddy. Like, he could have figured it out.
Right. But he didn't want to. He felt like I paid child support. And
I think when he made a decision about which woman he was gonna be with, when he chose Nicole's mom, I think he left all of that.
Mm-hmm. Well, but see, here's what upsets me. And again, I'm really not trying to attack nobody, mama. But I think that her obviously not being gung-ho for bringing her in didn't help him. You get what I'm saying? She enabled it. It's basically like, oh, you don't want to take care of your kid? Well, cool, because I ain't want her over here no way. Versus being like,
she definitely was okay with it. Like, they encouraged each other to be absent in that girl's life. He really didn't. I mean, he didn't have the desire, and she didn't make him. Like when we talk about like Quita, it sounds like her mother did the exact opposite. Her mother was like, look, if I'm gonna stay with this man, I have to accept that this man has a child. So he gonna be at the family cookouts. He gonna be at the family functions. He is gonna be a part of this family because I made a decision to stay with this man. So which means I've made a decision to accept this child. And that's the problem I have with this whole situation, is that Nicole's mom, in her mind, got the prize. I don't know how much of a prize Bubba was, but in her mind, she got the prize.
Bubba had problems.
Listen, I'm just leaving it right there. I feel like Bubba had a challenge in life, and I'm gonna just leave it there. But she, I have a problem with that, and I feel like that's what Bubba did, and he really didn't want to do the work of being a dad outside of paying his child support, being a dad to Nicole, and his wife was okay with that. That's just how I feel.
Nope. Unfortunately, it's giving that. I was hoping they were somehow going to change that narrative, but when she stood up and was like, basically, I didn't want her there. And if Bubba wasn't bringing her, I wasn't asking her.
Because even when she said, I didn't want her going over your house either. It's like, well, damn. So you really just did not want Kesha around.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know what? And I'm going to say that they always say that, unfortunately, why people can't move past a child when it comes to like cheating is because it's a constant reminder of the cheating. So I think for her trying to move forward, obviously they had Monet. So I think for her being present and around was a constant reminder of what he did back then.
Yeah, because for my own nosiness, for my own nosy curiosity, I
Mm-hmm.
really would love to hear Keisha's. Even if Keisha has to tell the story for her mother, I
Right.
really would love to hear. Or you know what? Forget Keisha. I don't want Keisha version. I want Aunt Jackie, or I want their version, because I bet you they do know the real story, and I want to,
Oh,
like,
I feel
when
like
did
they absolutely do know it up and
Right.
down. They knew what their brother
Right.
was
When
doing.
did he start dating? When did he start dating both of them? Was it like he was in a relationship with both of them? Because I mean, we know who he chose ultimately, but did he choose, or did they choose for him? Like, did Keisha's mom bow out, or did he really choose Nicole's mom? Like, I really, because I think
Was
that's
her
part
and
of the
Nicole's
story.
mama fighting in the street? Like we
Yeah,
want
was they in the
to
street?
know.
Because I honestly think that's part of the story. I really
Right.
think part of the animosity comes down to the two women, and Kesha, like you said, Kesha being a reminder of that. But I bet you that story is juicy. And I mean, that's just my own nosiness. Y'all ain't got to really tell us, but the nosy me want to know.
You funny, but it's so funny because me and Nels talked about this. We were recapping another show the other day, and it was something to do with therapy. But they always say like it goes back to the we were talking about Dubai and Stansbury, and when she had that scene with her mom, and I was like, oh my god, it really does go back to the root because her mama is so not warm, and like Nell on Love and Marriage Huntsville, she's like da 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 da, and she don't. It's the root. They're the root of the problem, and
Yeah.
unfortunately, I'm glad to see that we're seeing Nicole and Lakeisha move past it, but unfortunately, until they can fix the root, this problem is always going to be there. So yeah,
I just now that I don't agree with. Not
you
in
don't
this
think so?
instance. I agree with what you're saying about Stansbury. I understand what you're saying about Nell. But the reason why I say that is because honestly, at this point, I think it's counterproductive for them to keep revisiting, because everybody just got their own version of the story and it doesn't change anything.
True.
I think that Nicole is willing to move forward. Monet is upset, but I think Monet is more upset at what happened with her and Quita, or Jamisha, whoever it was. I don't remember now. I
It
think
was
it was Quita.
Peter.
Yeah, I think she's more upset over that situation. But because that, I was going to say I disagree with what Caramel was saying as well. And again, this is something that I've evolved into. This isn't something that I woke up. Because if you had asked me 5 years ago, I'd be like, yeah, she does need to talk to her dad, and she does need to make peace because one day he's not going to be here anymore. But I'm not that person anymore. I do not feel like you owe closure to toxic family just because they're family. I don't think at this point, I don't think Bubba showed me in that, and I know it's only a clip and I get it, but in that clip, Bubba showed me that I don't think there's anything for Kesha in that. I don't think Kesha gets anything out of that, what is she going to get out of a conversation with him? What he's not. Now I do understand that they said he was embarrassed, probably because the cameras were there. It probably added a little bit of height, and maybe he felt like he had to defend himself. But if he honestly feels like he was there because he paid child support, and he honestly feels like his wife doesn't owe anybody anything because it wasn't his child and she didn't have to accept Kesha, I don't know what does the conversation do. And
No, I give you that. I give you that because at the end, well, I think I'm talking about the older. Like again, I think somebody posted, but it rots at the head. I'm talking about the older folks, not the kids being involved, because they've already said we're going to move forward. This is their stuff. But Joyce and Bubba and the sisters, because clearly it's still a point of contention for them. You get what I'm saying? And then you said something about she doesn't gain anything. To your point, I was thinking about it when you said it. I don't think we've ever seen Bubba even interact with, like, in the scenes that we see as a family. Again, it's editing, and I'm sure it's a lot that we don't see. But I don't even think we've even seen them interact in any of the family functions. He never comes out and like hugs her, like all, you know what I mean? Now,
right.
granted, he don't do it. He don't do it to Monet or Nicole like that. But still, to your point, yeah, I don't know if she really gains anything by trying to repair this relationship with her dad. But yeah, no. So basically, as Really B said, Caramel wants her to try to resolve things and fix it, and she just wants to make sure they're good because obviously they have their own blended family. Lakeisha has a child, Caramel has a child, so they just want to make sure that their kids are getting the love and attention and inclusion that basically they need, so they don't have to deal with this years later.
So
Xavier, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, I was gonna say Love is Dope says they need therapy, Kiki and Bubba. What do you think? Do you think that if they sat down with a professional, with just the two of them, do you think there can be resolution there?
I'm gonna be honest. Before I saw this episode, I would have thought that there could have been some resolution between if those two just sat in therapy. However, and maybe I'm reaching y'all, and I'm not trying to put anything on anybody, and I could be wrong. This is just my opinion. The way that he spoke to her gives me that he has disdain for her. Like the fact that she is even around. That's what it gave me. That's why I was so hurt by it. And that's not even my daddy. But that's what it gave. And I really felt bad for Kesha. And to your point, that's why when you were saying, I was like, oh, okay, that I don't know how that helps. I don't know how that helps you grow, be better, and get over and move forward. But maybe it could, but he has to be open. Clearly Kiki's open, but if Bubba's not open, feel like he ain't do nothing wrong. And I mean,
Yeah.
what
And so I agree. The thing with therapy is people have to be willing for therapy. Like therapy
like now,
therapy
like
is
now.
not a pill, right? Therapy is not a pill that you take and it just fixes something. You
Right.
have to go into therapy with an open mind and a willingness to accept and hear. And I don't know if Bubba is in a place to do either. I don't know if he's in a place to hear Kesha's point of view, and I don't know if he's in a place to accept what he did wrong, or at least how what he did hurt Kesha and the effect that it had. I don't know. I don't know. And I'm not saying I don't know him well enough to say he isn't, but before they go into therapy, that has to be the goal. I just don't know. What I think her and Nicole, yes. Her and Monet, yes. I just don't know if there's any use. I don't know. From what I saw, and again, I know it's a clip, but from what I saw in this episode, no, I don't know if therapy is. I don't know if therapy is worth it. Not right now. And I mean, at this point, shit. I mean, Kesha got a 20-year-old child. Like, I don't, you know what I mean? Like,
okay, let's get through. Okay, CJ, I'm loving it. Send the super chats. In my opinion, the show is definitely real. I love it. I do as well, but
I
I
do
think
love this show. I do. I ain't gonna lie. I
but
really,
I
really
think
do.
that's why it's so hard for me. Like, because I'm like, oh, this is a real, like this is real. So it's more
Right.
hopeful. Like, they just not putting on.
And I think that's why I'm so gentle in my review, because I really do like
Right.
them. I really like the family. I really like the show. And I don't want to feel like I'm coming at anybody. Because again, going back to what I said before, I give everybody, including Bubba and Nicole's mom, I give all of them credit for being open and having bringing this on the show and having the conversation. Like, I give them credit for that. So even though how I feel, I still want to be gentle because I like Nicole. Nicole gave me a different. I'm gonna be honest. For a minute, I thought I wasn't gonna really like Nicole, but
Right.
baby, Nicole definitely. And it goes back to what Chris said to us a couple of weeks ago when he said Nicole is she's really a teddy bear, right?
Right.
I saw that on this episode. That Nicole is really a teddy bear. You know what I mean?
Miss Gigi, so I'm gonna read your comment. Look deep at Nicole. She is not the family hero, nor as innocent as they are editing her for us to believe. I feel she's not to be trusted. Something about her is fake. Now, Miss Gigi, as Really B said, we gonna go. I'm not gonna say I thought she was fake, but I thought that she came off very hard, and I think at the beginning, and especially when it came to the Kesha situation, and I think that's why this episode. I'm gonna be honest with you. One thing that I noticed, and I hear what you're saying, Miss Gigi. I'm not saying, trying to tussle with you or nothing. But what I noticed this episode, literally every scene we seen Nicole, and like you said, it may be edited. That girl was crying. We seen her put up and act like everything was good and don't nothing bother her, and she was just fine. And literally, I mean, I saw different confessional looks. I saw in every scene that she is talking about this with her sister, that girl is crying. And I really believe that is from the heart. That is true emotion for her.
I agree.
We have not seen that all season. So this particular episode, I was like, I'm not saying she's human. I know she's human, but she finally showed us that, and it was like, oh my God, this really hurts her. This really hurts her. And not even that, it's not even about her. She's more hurt for her sister. That's
Yeah.
what took me out.
Yeah.
Because in the beginning, you couldn't have told me that. In the beginning, you couldn't have told me
that. Yeah, I agree. I agree. In the beginning, I wouldn't have had that opinion. I agree. Now,
right.
I still ain't feeling her and how she moving with this land situation, but we'll get to that later. We'll get to that later, child.
Amina Ruth said, I already knew or just felt like Joy didn't want Kesha around. Xavier says, I think they know the story and probably played some parts in it. Love is Dope said Dustin Ross is interviewing Kiki right now. Okay, all right. I'll definitely tune in.
Oh, I'll definitely tune into that. I know he did Nicole, and I didn't watch it, but I think I'm gonna go back and watch Nicole's interview. But I definitely want to hear Kiki's interview.
These sisters are not innocent when it comes to the Joy and Lakeisha's mother. There's more to this than they are saying. What's their real part in this 40 years ago? Okay. And then Tan said, I don't think it's the wife controlling how he acts towards Kesha. Okay.
No, I don't think the wife is controlling it, but I think they co-sign each other's complacency and not being a part of that child's life. Like,
right.
Like Nicole's mother doesn't want her around because, like you said, it reminds her of the affair and it reminds her of whatever bullshit she went through with him. And he doesn't want to deal with Kesha because that's not who he chose. He didn't choose Kesha's mom. And I think he just didn't, that's just how I feel. I mean, he ain't the man that will walk away from a child because he walked away from the mama. So,
right. And look, we see that even in marriages, just because we ain't married no more now. Gotta take care of these kids. Miss Gigi said, until Bubba takes accountability for his part, there is no resolution. I agree.
I agree.
And unfortunately, Miss Gigi, I think, and I may be wrong, I'm not trying to put this on him, but I think that he gives me the vibe that he's one of those older Black community, doesn't believe in therapy. I'm set in my ways, and he unfortunately is probably going to go to the grave with and never give those kids. And that's why, to really B's point, it's best for them to move on and move forward, because I don't think that they'll ever, if they can't fall on that sword, because I don't think they'll ever get what they're looking for from him.
I agree.
Yeah. Thank you, Love is Dope. We appreciate it. And people can be multi-layered. Absolutely. Miss Gigi, Miss Gigi, Nicole is an act. Seen many like her in my days. She'll turn on you in a minute. What you saw tonight is still fake. Okay. Strong opinions. Dustin did Jermisha too. It was really good. Okay. All right. Thank you. And then Tan said, I wonder if Kesha's mom was a friend to one of the sisters, or did one of the sisters introduce Bubba and Kesha's mom to each other? Me and really said that before. Like something about
I do think that situation is messier than what we know. Now I agree with that. And I think maybe they were friends, or maybe I do think there was a friend connection somewhere in there, whether Kesha's mother was friends with them, or Nicole's mother was friends with them, or hell, maybe Kesha and Nicole's mama were friends. I don't know. But I do think that was messier than just a man dating two women. I do think that.
And shooting up the club. Both of them. Okay. Anyway, so Jermisha and Jaquita, they go to see Nicole, check on her. Jermisha's like, I talk to her often, but I need to check on her in person. Because again, I think that, as we've seen, Nicole does a good job at masking how she's really feeling. So Jermisha says that she's concerned because she's never seen, Nicole react like that, and wants to make sure she's good. They go, stop by, had a champagne. I loved it. They tried not to give Jaquita any, which I thought was
they be killing me acting like Jaquita as an alcoholic child.
Which is so funny because we said last recap, I think this is just who Jaquita is, with or without.
I do. Because she like that, whether now the drinking might add to it, but baby, she like that without the alcohol.
Right. And so they basically bring up her reaction and are like, so how what made you say that, or what made you react that way? And basically she was just like, because I felt bad. She was like, everybody's over here arguing, falling out, and basically talking or referring to Lakeisha, who's still sitting in the room, and nobody is concerned about how this is affecting her. And I absolutely agree with her. I absolutely 10 toes down agree with her. And so you know, she would, and so they start talking about how they wish Monet would have, you know, let Aunt Joy or Aunt Joy, I keep calling her Joyce, but Aunt Joy speak or whatever. And Nicole thinks that, you know, the conversations, they shouldn't have been involved in the conversation, period. And it should have been between her mother and Aunt Jackie, which I'm in agreement with. I'm kind of in agreement with. So then they table the conversation to discuss whose side Nicole is really on. After she pitched her own ideas at the roundup to Granny, Nicole said, Granny's gonna do what she want to do. We've heard this, okay? And Jermisha reveals that Aunt Nikki told her, well, Granny no longer wants to do a deal. So I need you to be on board at this pitch. Are you going, you know? But she also lets her know, and I don't understand why she told her this in advance, because she already knew. Like, I felt like that just made her, you know what I mean? She agreed to be on board, but I was like, maybe you shouldn't have released that piece about the math not mapping.
Well,
Because we know Nicole want the money to be money, and so does and they say she's Oscarine Jr. That's so
right. And again, I feel like again, I'm back where I said last week that that whole argument is Nicole's fault, because I do feel like Nicole is not on board with doing what Jaquita wants to do. But she doesn't want to say it. But I do not think that Nicole is on board. I don't. And I don't think Nicole was purposefully trying to sabotage their plan. But what I think is that Nicole was trying to pitch a plan that she thought that the grandmother would go along with. But I have a problem with the fact that she did not have that conversation with Jamisha, excuse me, before the rodeo, because you already knew how Jamisha felt and what Jamisha was trying to do. So I do feel like she was undermining Jamisha by doing that.
Yeah, it was kind of sabotage a little bit. It was absolutely. So then we see Jaquita helping her cousin Travis find a home. And can I just say, this is one of the things that I love that the show sticks to, the real estate part of it. And we get to see.
I love this scene.
Yes. And so we see two homes. The first one she showed him, I think it was 590K. He was trying to stay in his 500K budget. So he was like, that's a little too much, even though it's a nice house. So then He
told her, you wasted my time. And I ain't mad at him.
See, I told you I was in and out. At this point, I was all cried out.
No, he said that, yeah, you showed me this house. I fell in love with this house, knowing that this was out of my budget. And that's what I think. Again, you're a real estate agent. I get it. You're doing your job. Like, I get it. This was a house. It was in a ballpark of his budget. You thought he would like it. But my thing is, if I tell you my budget is $500,000, don't show me a house for damn near $100,000 more. Like, don't do that.
Maybe she was trying to hit him. What's the HGTV show? Not Love of the Listed. What's the other one? They give you the 3 options.
And I don't watch none of them shows, so I don't know.
But that's what it's given. And they give them the 3 options, and they always give you the one outside of the price range to keep you realistic, because people have unrealistic ideas about, I want to live here and I want this. And they'd be like, well, yeah, you can live here, but it's out of your budget. That's what that gave me.
He told her, you wasted my time, and I was here for it because I'm with her. Again, $10,000 or $15,000, but a whole $100,000 more than what I told you. Yeah, you playing.
Well, see, then we see this second home, which is 515K, but the realtor had already agreed to come down off the 15K, so it's
right
at his price, within his budget, and he seems to like it, but he has some issues about the neighborhood. And she tries to reassure him that, as the neighborhood grows and, gentrification, what it is, and they build it up, that basically it's going to be what he wants it to be. And he's going to get equity on how, which really be, you can speak more to this because you own a home. And so, he'll get equity. And by the time he's ready to move, because he said he wants it to be like a starter home or an investment property later on.
Right. If the neighborhood, the thing is this, if the neighborhood does build up, everything she said is correct. And when he's ready to move it to something bigger and better, basically you got the duplex. So if he is able to make his mortgage or damn near make his mortgage by renting half of it, when he's ready to move and he rents the other half, he's absolutely good, especially if he can raise the rent if the neighborhood goes up, right? The problem is, and I get, it's just like anything else, and that's a perspective. The neighborhood may or may not do that.
And when I'm
Like
telling you,
projecting it, they may be, saying that it's going to and projecting that it's going to, but it may never actually do that. So it's a gamble, but I mean, it is what it is. It is a gamble. Because if you look at that house, you can tell that house has been renovated when you look at the rest of the neighborhood.
So to your point, really, B, it's funny because I'm thinking about my boo's property in Baltimore. And even though it was a great price, remodeled, fixed up, it was, but we're still waiting for the neighborhood to change. Okay. It's about, we're still waiting for the neighborhood. So to your point, you could invest into it and it still may not get where you want it to be. If everybody's not on the same, that I feel like that's when you get a community of builders and you like buy up the block. So you can, you know what I'm saying? Because the surroundings weren't giving. I don't know if I would have done it if I was him, but I think.
I mean that sometimes things are a blessing in disguise. I remember when the first time I thought about trying to buy a property, it was a condo. It was a condo, and it was in an area of DC that they were building up. It was an apartment building that they were turning into condos, and they were renovating it, doing all of the things. And I remember my a good friend of mine, she was moving in. She had bought a unit. That's how I found out about it. And I didn't get approved, right? At the time, I wasn't really ready to buy a house. I just was like, oh, these are cute. They're buying them. Let me apply. I didn't get approved. And I remember being so disappointed. Like, I remember getting that letter and just breaking down into tears, right? Because I was like, oh my gosh, this would have been so cute. And I remember my mom went with me to go look at them. And my mama was not sold. Okay. She was like, this neighborhood, because I'll tell you where it is when we get off camera. But baby,
okay.
It was the hood. Now I ain't gonna lie, but they were like, "Oh, we're gonna do this. We're renovating. They're gonna be building houses. They're gonna do the whole neighborhood. They had this whole plan. They were going to build a community, for the complex. They were gonna have a community space and all that good stuff, right? Well, fast forward.
Where is it now? Where is it now?
Right. Fast forward. My girlfriend, she did buy the property. The neighborhood never, I mean, they build houses? Yes. Did they end up selling all of those units? Yes. But the neighborhood never did do all the things that they said they were going to do. And when my girlfriend did finally get ready to sell, she didn't really make much of a profit. I mean, she walked away not owing anything. Right. But she wasn't in a position, it didn't. And I was like, sometimes things work out the way they're supposed to work out. You know what I mean? So it's a gamble. I'm sure they have plans for that neighborhood, but who's to say? Would I have bought the unit? I probably still would have bought it.
But you weren't going to get what you thought, like as she's trying to sell him on the equity. You're saying that he might not get what she's saying he might get.
I mean, first of all, I would do my research, and you got to find out what other houses in that neighborhood are selling for now to see if you're in that same, like, I wouldn't buy it for $500,000 if the last 3 houses that sold in that neighborhood sold for $300,000. No, but if the last 3 houses were selling that were renovated, you know what I mean? You got to look at that. You got to look at if it's in the same, ballpark.
Yeah.
All right. I probably would. I mean, if I had the money, I probably would have done it because you got a duplex, so you got automatic. I mean, you have an automatic. You automatically are making money because you're going to rent out the other half of the unit. So from the beginning, you kind of walk in. You kind of walk in a good position to begin with.
Hey,
hey y'all coming in. Hey, that's how I feel about it.
Well, yeah, and so what I thought was funny is Jaquita, as we know, mentioning again, which clearly she says is a constant conversation in her house, that she is ready to get out of that house that she bought 10 years ago, 10, 11 years ago, as she put in my comments, and she is ready to upgrade. And I said, well, I wonder if they're in a new home now.
I would love to ask Chris, did they move?
Yeah, I want to know if they moved yet, especially with, the whole contract and all that. So then we see Nicole and Monet, they link up to meet up with Nicole's referral partner to put her on $1 million property that she wants to list. She's hoping to get this listing because he's a football player for, I believe it was the Texans, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And, obviously she's hoping that if she can get this, that it will lead to further business,
Right. It puts them in
in
that
this
luxury
arena.
market.
Right.
This was another thing where I fell in love with Nicole. Because the baby, when I tell you Nicole worked that, I mean,
Not
it may
only
not,
does she work it, can I just tell y'all? I said, I mean, now granted, I knew that they, they got body yaddy right? But I know as somebody who don't have the most body yaddy, okay, them heels. That's why I don't do nothing less than 5 inches because it push. It's the BBL without surgery. And when I tell you, her and Monet was, and I love how they was tag teaming. And so Monet would just, stay quiet to the side and be cute, and just do her thing. Oh, I could just imagine myself in this shower. I said, "Girl, look at you selling this property, okay?"
And when she knew her specs,
Right.
and she knew her specs, and she, even at the end when she did her pitch about this being a family legacy and who they are, I said,
Right.
yes. You better tell that man who y'all are.
Yes, I loved it. And so, basically he's like, well, we still got other people to talk to, but we'll, definitely. So that's another thing, kind of a cliffhanger that they left us on. I want to know if they got the deal or not. But it was a good moment for them. And as we can see, and like I said, I follow Nicole. I don't necessarily follow Monet, but they definitely are branching into the luxury market. So shout out to them, because even if they didn't get that client, I know they've gotten other listings. So then they talk about the whole, crawfish boil situation, and the upcoming pitch, and how Monet feels about attending. That's when we see footage behind the scenes where Jaquita and Monet was about to put paws on each other.
Yeah, they got into it bad.
Because basically they're both defending their mothers. And this is another point where I said I wasn't mad at Monet for defending her mom. And but at the same time, I don't know. I feel like your mom might have been wrong. And so I get what you were trying to do. Like, you ain't gonna jump down my mama's throat about something she did 20 something years, 30 years ago, right? However, and I don't know. It's like I said, I don't want, because I do like the family. I don't want to go too deep into their family business. I'm still trying to make it to the cookout. So I don't talk too much. But I don't know. I just think that maybe she should have piped down a little bit, especially when it got to the point where, because Jaquita was very passionate, and it was more like, my mom did the right thing. Here, your mom is bringing my mom, and when she did the right thing by bringing my brother in, now she's throwing shade and throwing daggers. And then for you to go co-sign that and support that is just like, yeah.
Because Monet's mama was the one that bought. Monet mama started this by throwing. Monet mama started it, and
back to my point for everybody in the chat. Who, I'm just saying, y'all want to make Nicole. I'm just saying, not everybody. Like, I get it. I understand your feelings. Head on, right? Like,
and it was making me mad because Monet,
but she said this does not need to be. She tried to stop her mother from saying it on camera, and like I told y'all, either last recap or a few recaps ago, I said she was determined to get her story told, and she waited till Nicole wasn't around to tell it.
Yeah, because she doesn't think she's wrong.
Right.
She doesn't think she's wrong. And even with Monet, I'm gonna tell you what made me mad with Monet. When they were at the table before even it got to that point, when they were at the table and the mother was like, how do you know? You should have gave us time. How do you know he wouldn't have went and got his daughter? And even Monet chimed in and was like, how did y'all know? How did y'all know? Girl, because it had been 7 years. I mean, again, I get it. That's your mama. But you didn't have to co-sign on that because that's bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
That was bullshit when it was said. Like, what you mean? How do you know? Because it had been 7 years. That's how we know he wasn't going to get his daughter, because it had been 7 years. Like, how much time are we giving him?
Right. Mm-hmm. And like you said, she felt she was right. She felt she was justified. Yeah. And so she wanted her story to be told. Yep. And I think Nicole was low-key trying to protect her mother. That was her way of protecting her, by not letting her share her story, because she knew how her mother felt.
Yeah, because she sure cut her mama off real quick.
Right, exactly. All right, y'all. So then we get ready for the big pitch. Now can I just tell y'all I was literally like laughing my ass off when Granny like is it just me or did Granny pull up by herself whipping it?
Yes, they let
Okay.
Granny. Yes, they let Granny roll up by
Right,
herself.
yeah, she rolled up by herself. I said, better. So yeah, so basically Nicole, Kesha, and Jamita show up first. Kesha says that basically the wall has been coming down after the crawfish boil. My notes do say crab, sorry. But she isn't sure about Joyce and her dad. To really V's point, I don't even know if at this point, I'm gonna be honest with you. After hearing Joyce say what she said, and she didn't want her over on Jackie's house either. I don't think we could ever come back from that.
And I would, and that goes back to what I was saying before. I wouldn't want to. Like
Yeah.
at this point, I mean, my especially at this point in life, I'm grown. I've created my own space for myself. I have my relationship with my cousins and my sister.
Right.
I'm good. I don't need a relationship with you. I'm not interested in a relationship with you. I don't need a relationship with you. Like
And
you
even if
stay
she
over there.
tried to have a relationship with her father, it would look crazy because they were both doing the same thing. So you can't be mad at one and not be mad at the other. So I understand what she said when she says, like, I don't know if I'm ever gonna really have a relationship with them. And
Yeah.
I can understand that. So then basically Monet arrives and Jaquita is still in her feelings and a little irritated with her for disrespecting her mama. The G1 show up and that's when Granny, whipping it. And then basically Jermisha starts her presentation and talks about the legacy of the family and how they just don't want to give it to anyone else. And she does her whole pitch, right? She lets the Sheltons come up and then they start getting into the money and the math of it all. And you can see Granny's interest leaving her face.
Child, Granny done already made up her mind.
Yeah.
She done already made up her mind. Granny is gonna sell that land. She don't care what y'all talking about. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you. At this point, Jamisha would be better off trying to secure a loan and just buying the land.
Dude, you know what I was thinking? What was so crazy? And I literally thought this was going to be the big to do or the finale, not this episode, but what I mean, like, I thought the finale was going to be Jermisha just not go behind her grandmother's back. But remember how they talked about how Granny used to go pull out for sale signs and people's did it and then just go buy it cash or whatever. And I
Yeah.
felt like Jermisha was going to do that. And I was like, well, what can you say after that?
And the thing is this, honestly, that's what Jamisha needs to do. Jamisha needs to sit at the table with
Right.
Granny and negotiate a price because she did say that at the beginning, like, you could sell us the land at a discount. And Granny was like, I don't know about no discount. But honestly, and I mean, again, I ain't in nobody's pockets. I don't know what people got. I ain't in their money. But honestly, at this point, I really think that's her best bet. And then that way, she doesn't owe anybody anything.
Right.
She keeps the land in the family and she can do what she wants with it on her own terms. Now, I know that's a lot of money and she may not have that kind of money. She may have to find investors or may have to take some equity out of the brokerage. The problem is Nicole probably ain't down for it. So she probably ain't going to sign off on them taking money out of the brokerage. But honestly, I really feel like that's the best plan. I really feel like that's the best plan.
Yeah, no, well, to your point, I believe it was y'all gonna correct me in the comments. I believe it was maybe Aunt Cheryl or Aunt Charlotte, one of them leaned over and asked her, what you want to do. And Granny said, I'm trying to sell. So
Yeah,
that
Granny wants to sell it. She's not interested. She wants to, and I think part of it, especially when they say the 5 years, I'm not, I ain't putting this on nobody, but I think she wants things settled. Just
well, not
period.
even I think somebody mentioned, or I feel like I heard it, where somebody said she wants to be able to give her kids that basically they're like, not I want to say inheritance, but
No,
give them
yeah, they're in here. I
give
think
them to be
that
able to
was on
see,
tonight's episode.
yeah, and be able to see them enjoy it, basically.
Yeah.
So I don't know, y'all. I don't know what y'all think. Love is Dope said she did lose a little respect for Monet. Nicole was protecting her mother. Quita wasn't wrong, and Monet was out of line. And that 2 years, or no, I'm sorry, 5 years is not a long time. And it was
I
my
don't
shirt.
think it is
Thank
either. I don't think it's a land.
So I mean, you don't think it, but I don't know. I don't know. I can't, like I said, I don't want to speak on it. Everybody got their own decisions. Maybe she just wants to get it out of the family because she realizes this is a point of contention and it's one less thing they got to fight over as a family.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I would just try to secure the funding to buy the land. And even if she can't build immediately, she keeps the land and she can figure out, figure the rest of that out, but I would just buy the land.
they said Xavier said Granny ain't got no other pieces of land. She got the shopping center. She got the
Well, what they said was all the rest of her assets have been settled except for that land. Remember they said, because that's why they were saying, why is Monet bringing up the beauty salon? Because they said Granny already got all of that covered. It's just for whatever reason that land hasn't been settled.
Well, to your point, I think that even if Jermisha, and again, ain't not getting in nobody's pockets, but even if she ain't got the bag to do it, she needs to get with her cousins and just they all go in together and purchase the land as three parties and then do they deal their 5-year, you know what I mean? Or they all, you know what I mean? As collectively, they just all put it in one pot and they buy it from her at asking price so that the G1s can get what they want. And that pretty much solves the problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
But don't get me lying. I ain't took nobody's real estate courses, so don't get me lying. They can use the land to secure a loan and make payments.
Right. If the land is worth $800,000, if they can talk Granny into selling it to them for even if they can talk her into selling it to them for $700,000, they got equity in it already.
Right.
Because that's honestly that's the conversation. After she met with the builders and the math wasn't mathing, plan B would have been, all right, Granny, can we negotiate a price? Like you said, you'd be willing to sell the land to us. What would be your asking price? And then I'm with you. I would just try to find funding.
Yep. That's what it's about. All right, y'all. Well, thank y'all so much for joining us for this episode and recap of the Family Empire Houston. If you haven't already, whatever channel you're on, please make sure that y'all hit that like button and that you comment and subscribe and that you hit the little notification bell so y'all know, when we going live and stuff, because YouTube be acting a little funny nowadays. Okay. And make sure you're following us on all of the platforms. And look, I might be quitting X come tomorrow, but the TikTok, the X, the Facebook and IG. And we'll catch y'all next week for another recap, and hopefully it'll be less heavy because it was a lot, y'all, for me, again. And I will be posting Nell's birthday wish list in the community board. Y'all know it is Virgo season, and she put in her PTO request, and I had no choice but to approve it, or otherwise she would have been a no call, no show. So Nels is in Virgo season. So if y'all see me doing a little couple reviews on my own, and it's because she traveling and living her best life because it's Virgo season. Okay, the month ain't even started yet for her, and she already starting.
Listen, I can't even say nothing because I was traveling before my birthday. So
right. So I will post that in the community board, and if you guys are feeling charitable, want to get send her anything or do anything off her wish list, I'm sure she'll really appreciate it, and we will be doing a live to celebrate her. I don't know if it'll be September 19th because that's terrible. I don't even know what day that lands on, but we will do it close around that time to celebrate our girl Nels for her birthday. All right, y'all. We'll catch y'all next week. Y'all have a good night and have a safe and wonderful Labor Day weekend. Bye-bye.
Y'all. Peace.